What is an agile transformation plan? The definition is here. Of course, the practitioner exam will not have theory questions. It's all some sort of understanding questions, and then which is a bit of theory, of course, but not completely recalling word by word the theory, but an understanding of the theory, and then followed by a lot of application and analysis questions. The Agile Transformation Plan is a guidance uh, to how an initiative or project can adopt more agility. So it'll have some high-level goals, aligning new target states to organization strategy, for example, mission or vision, as well as short-term objectives to guide the practical implementation of these new target states. Typically, organizations, and more so modern organizations, aim to achieve more agility. And in order to achieve that, they will have to create this Agile Transformation Plan. So this plan is not a management product within PRINCE2 Agile. For example, you won't find a template for this. Just like you can find a template in the official book for the business case or the project canvas, the project plan, etc. This agile transformation plan is totally dependent on how the organization wants to create it. It'll help them to shift them to embrace the agile mindset, values, and principles, and thereby improve their adaptability to business situations that are changing continuously, help them collaborate better, and have more customer-focused delivery. And therefore, this plan will clarify how the teams will work together in a more flexible manner, collaborate together, and how they will continually improve their ways of working, say, for example, by experimentation and so on. And therefore, a key thing about agile transformation is cultural change and structural changes to team structures, roles, and responsibilities, by which there can be better responsiveness and innovation within the organization. Because those are needed in order to become truly agile. In the absence of such a plan, people will not know how they should move forward and become agile, because there are two things to become agile. One is to do agile, to apply certain procedures, frameworks, techniques, and so on. On the other hand, to have an agile mindset that is known as being agile, not doing agile. So it's more about the culture of agility and the why behind the processes. Therefore, a good plan in place will build confidence among all the people who are involved in the organization and minimizes resistance to change and uncertainty, which means that the Agile Transformation Plan will also have to deal with resistance, because some people might object to this transformation. They might say, things have worked very well in the past, and therefore, why do we need all this? We are doing good already. But what they might not know is if they continue to work this way, then they might be out of business in the future. Therefore, the management should support those people who are having their own fears or internal conflicts, and then they should be pacified and well supported rather than forcing this transformation on everybody. Of course, there'll be people who are very willing to change. It's been found out through research that generally 25% of employees within an organization are very willing to change. Another 25% are the resistors, and about 50% are the one who are flexible. They are okay to remain as is and even okay to change. So in summary, 25% always eager to change, 50% are flexible this way or that way, go with the flow, and then which leaves us only 25% who are probably the resistors. Now, this is not from this course, but this is a general research that has been carried out. This is not a conclusion from PRINCE2 Agile itself. So the Agile Transformation Plan should also use the PRINCE2 way of working. For example, it should be done in stages rather than a big bang approach that start on day one and suddenly on day 100 we are agile, but we could probably break it into stages. Like stage one could be reaching an interim state of the agile transformation. So it could be, for example, making people aware about why the change is necessary and giving them some anecdotes and of other organizations who have changed. And then the next stage or phase could be to train people, make them aware about the techniques and the mindset. And then the third phase or stage could be about allowing them to practice it. So this is just an example, and every organization has its own way of creating this agile transformation plan. It is up to them. And also because it's an agile transformation itself, therefore, At the end of each stage of this transformation project, replanning will be needed because the original agile transformation plan might require some changes. What was thought could be possible may not be possible anymore, and some new ideas may emerge, and those should be always planned for and revised for. So therefore, the plan itself should be adaptive and relevant as the transformation makes its progress. Leaders should have patience in transformation rather than trying to push everything, and because otherwise many people might leave the organization. And therefore, this agile transformation plan is a stage-based. It should go stage by stage, and it should be dynamic rather than a static single plan. It'll be a single plan, but it shouldn't be static. It should be dynamic. Typically, this transformation plan is not based on just a single project. It may have multiple projects. There can be a people-focused project. There can be a process-focused project. There can be a tool-focused project, and so on, in order to become truly agile. And therefore, there's a risk that carrying out a single small project for transformation may not work properly. And in PRINCE2 Agile, and in fact, even in PRINCE2, we have the change management approach. Now, you could use this change management approach itself to incorporate this agile transformation plan. Because agile transformation plan is not a specific management product within PRINCE2 Project Management or within PRINCE2 Agile, but then the change management approach is definitely one management product, and make the best use of that to create this or to embed this agile transformation plan into that approach itself. Typically, this change management approach will define the target organization state, which is an agile state or improved agility state. And because it can be a complex project and to transform to agile ways of working. Therefore, every agile transformation-based project should have its own change management approach. So for example, the people transformation of agility will have its own change management approach. The process transformation for agility will have its own change management approach, because each of these is a separate project and every project will require its own change management approach. The change management approach, you might recollect from if you have taken the PRINCE2 training, the PRINCE2 Foundation or Practitioner, or even the PRINCE2 Agile, even version 1, and now in version 2 as well, we have the change management approach. It should define what will change and what are the various interim states during the change and eventually the final state. An interim state example could be that there has been trained people now ready, or there are tool sets are ready, and so on. Or the functions of the organizations are more agile now. For example, procurement or HR has become more agile, and so on. And then what are the enabling activities during this agile transformation? It could be, for example, it will be relating to the projects, to the specific project. So for example, could be having to procure some equipment on time or tools on time, or having to prepare some training material, or bring in a coach who can facilitate the agile mindset. So there would be some key enabling activities, in the absence of which the transformation will fail. Then there are resources. There will be some overlap between some of these sections, but then each section will focus it based on its own title name, resources. It can include all sorts of resources, not just people, but it could include tools or any other supplies and so on. And the responsibilities, another section, then supporting tools and techniques. Yeah, this is very specific. If it is not included anywhere else earlier, then any standards to be used. There could be certain standards, for example, an Agile manifesto or principles could be used, and other references. So the change management approach, a little bit more about that. Typically, organizations that work in an agile manner will have a release planning approach. Typically, a release in software at least happens somewhere between 2 to 3 months, single release. The traditional projects used to deliver outputs over a period of time, such as could be 6 months, 10 months, 2 years, or 3 years, or whatever. But agile projects, even if the project itself is longer, 1 or 2 years, then releases are shorter time frame outputs given to the customer. So release planning will be required in agile transformation. Like what will happen by the end of 2 months? This is what we are targeting as an interim state as part of the transformation. People would have been um, supported with their thinking to let them know that why agility is needed and what are the benefits and some anecdotes and so on. And then the second release could be to train people and coach them a bit more. And the third release could be to allow people to practice it and start doing some small agile projects and so on to experiment and implement agile ways of working. Then frequent releases. Now not doing it big bang in one go like a single marathon, but doing it like a relay race, which is like releases, frequent releases. That's why having a release every month or every 2 months or not more than 3 months generally. This will have quick wins and that can motivate people. They will see that, yeah, this is helping them. Their alleviations and fears about losing jobs will be overcome. They might find things more interesting. And they should continuously be supported by the leadership. In fact, agility means everybody is becoming a leader in some way because everybody is empowered and people are typically bound to like it if they are educated about this properly. So specifically, the agile mindset should be brought in. People should be made aware of what this is about. And there should be measurement about the progress and how much success had been achieved, what were the wins so far. And sometimes you may have a larger change initiatives, which are agile manner. And in such cases, a more complex, more elaborate agile transformation plan may be needed instead of a standard change management approach, which means that while I did mention that the change management approach itself could be the agile transformation plan, but in some cases, the structure of that may not be sufficient for a more complex transformation in a very large company. Therefore, a separate agile transformation plan would be better. Because in that case, we may have multiple projects to be completed in order to transform to agile. If it's a single project to be completed for agile transformation, then you could use a once change management approach. But if it's many projects, then rather than having multiple change management approaches, one for each project, it's better to have a single agile transformation plan covering all those project areas.